kick off your shoes and pick up a controller? Today, I want to help you get the Juggernaut achievement in Halls of Torment. For this achievement, you have to defeat 24 marching ghosts in the Forgotten Viaduct. That means you'll have to take out half of either the north or the south wall of ghosts. This is difficult because the ghosts not only have a ton of health, but they hit freaking hard. Defeating one is challenging enough, but to beat 24 takes a real effort. Luckily, like with most of the other achievements, we can get through this one with some decent prep work. There are two main ways that we can complete this achievement: damage reflection with the Shield Maiden, or by a massive AoE damage with the Archer, the Exterminator, or the Sorceress. Let's go over each method, starting with the Shield Maiden. One thing that you'll learn quickly about this game is that if you ever come across a difficult run setup, or if you're struggling with an achievement, there is one character who will be happy to put you on her back and carry you through those difficult times. The Shield Maiden is such a strong character that she can practically complete any level or any achievement that she's eligible to attempt. Defeating the Marching Ghost is no different. In order to complete this with the Shield Maiden, we're going to need some specific items and build some specific traits. Now, the goal of this build is to take advantage of the Shield Maiden's natural tankiness and use that to reflect massive amounts of damage back to the Marching Ghosts. So for most items, we want to enhance that tankiness. The most important things for this build are your gloves and your rings. For the gloves, you want either the Fencing Gauntlets or the Thorn Fists. Both of them complement the Shield Maiden's playstyle, but in different ways. With the Fencing Gauntlets, every time you block, you have a chance to deal an extra attack that crits. With the Thorn Fists, every time you take damage, you deal back 3 times your crit bonus back to the enemy. And since the Shield Maiden starts with 400% crit bonus, this damage can get absolutely insane. No matter which gloves you take, you want to maximize your defense, block strength, and crit bonus with your other equipment slots. If you have upgraded versions of either of these gloves, make sure you use those instead. You'll probably be alright with the default Fencing Gauntlets, but you may need the upgraded Thorn Fists, which deals back 5 times your crit bonus instead of 3. It's still possible with the default version, it's just harder. For the rings, you want to take the Echoing Band and the Copper Ring. You'll pretty much only be dealing physical damage, so Echoing Band helps spread it out and soften nearby ghosts. Both the gloves make use of the Shield Maiden's high base crit bonus, and the Copper Ring further boosts it from 400% to 600%. Of course, there's a bit of leeway for rings, but the Echoing Band is non-negotiable. You absolutely should use that ring. If you don't want to use the Copper Ring, you have a few options. Guiding Star can be good for increased damage, or Holy Relic to help with survivability. For the helmet, chest, and boots, I chose items that improve my survivability, so anything that increase my base defense and block strength. Amulets don't matter too much here, so take whichever one gives you the best damage boost. If you have the crit version of the Duelist Spark, or if your Duelist Spark has a lot of charges, take that. I used the Bloodcatcher and was able to get it done with that. For the mark, use the Mark of the Shield Maiden. That'll add block strength to damage, which you will be boosting throughout the run. This equipment setup enabled me to get the achievement, so it should work for you as well. Now that we've gotten the items out of the way, let's next talk about the abilities you want to take. Our primary focus with abilities is to not only deal as much damage as possible, but to proc Echoing Band as often as we can. As such, we'll take as many physical abilities as possible. That means Phantom Needles, Astronomer's Orb, Ring Blades, Clay Golem, and Morning Star. Now, you don't get much choice in which abilities are available to pick, and a lot of this will rely on rerolls and luck. But you can 100% control the first one you get, and that should either be Ring Blades or Morning Star. These are both powerful abilities that either scale extremely well with stats, or just deal massive amounts of damage with upgraded versions. My slight preference is for Ring Blades, but you can't go wrong with either one. As you grab more scrolls and get more abilities, try to make sure you're taking as many physical ones as possible. The priority is Ring Blades, Morning Star, Astronomer's Orb, Phantom Needles, Clay Golem. As a matter of fact, you can probably skip Clay Golem entirely. It would be better to have a non-physical ability that you can control versus having the Golem be ineffective. As far as ability upgrades, for the Ring Blades you want to get Cyclone. Having the blades last longer and circle around allows them to deal continual damage for a significant length of time. For the second upgrade, Piercing Blades is best, but you can make do with Crippling Blades. For Morning Star, you want the Butterfly Swing upgrade and the Unleash Stars upgrade. Having multiple Morning Stars active spreads out massive amounts of damage. For Phantom Needles, you really want Phantom Split and Phantom Fetters. Split causes more needles to fire off, and for Fetters, we don't care about the slow, but we mostly care about the extra crit chance. For Astronomer's Orb, you want Inner Orbit and Orbital Shift. Having the second lane of orbs allows you to nearly constantly proc Echoing Band. You can kind of see where we're going with these abilities. We are creating as many objects to deal as much damage to as many targets as we possibly can. As for any other abilities you take, you want to focus on dealing as much damage to as many simultaneous targets as you can. Status effects don't matter as much, so purely focus on either softening nearby targets or completely maximize damage done to a single target. Now that you've gotten the idea about abilities to choose, let's discuss how to build and upgrade your character throughout the run. Without a doubt, your primary focus is going to be increasing your crit bonus. Remember, the crux of this build is either critting really hard, or by reflecting massive amounts of damage that gets improved by crit bonus. So you need to level this up whenever the option presents itself. It's worth using the potion that doubles upgrades. Next, you need to build up your defensive stats. Make sure you improve block strength, defense, and a bit of health. You're going to be taking a lot of damage, so you have to make sure you can survive. And finally, we need to improve the stats that will help out our selected abilities. In this case, that would be multi-strike, area, and force. You can also improve the crit chance and crit bonus of these abilities, but those are less important than base crit bonus. And now with this setup, we're finally ready to answer the toughest question with this build. How exactly do we defeat the Marching Ghosts? Well, the strategy here is to stand in the middle of the wall and let your damage reflection whittle down a few at a time. All the while, your abilities will soften up the ones next to you so they'll be easy to finish off in the future. Even with this setup though, it still isn't easy. The ghosts absorb so much damage. And the absolute worst part about this is that they don't have a health bar, nor do damage numbers pop up over them. So it feels like you're not doing anything at all while you're fighting them, and you just kind of have to trust that your build is working and keep sticking to it. So the first thing you want to do is pick up the tome and select either Ring Blades or Morning Star as your first ability. Then you want to head either north or south, and keep moving in that same direction. You want to get to the ghost wall as quickly as possible so you can start dishing out damage. As you're making your way to the wall, spend the first few levels increasing your crit bonus and survivability. The first few levels with the Shield Maiden are the most difficult. She doesn't really come online until about level 15ish, but once you get there, you're practically immortal. Hopefully when you get to the wall, you'll be in the mid-30s. At the wall, you want to pick one section to focus down, either the top or the bottom. And then you want to stand in the middle of that section. You will take damage, but it won't be as much as you expect. Don't be a slouch though. Make sure you're keeping an eye on your health. As you're standing in the middle of the wall, either your Fencing Gauntlets or Thorn Fists are doing their job. In the case of the Fencing Gauntlets, after you block, your next attack will hopefully crit for massive damage. For the Thorn Fists, each time you take damage, you're actually reflecting a large amount back to the enemy that hit you. All while this is going on, your ability should be softening nearby ghosts, with everything proccing the Echoing Band for even more damage. Again, due to the nature of the Marching Ghosts, you won't actually see the damage being done, you just have to trust your build. If you ever get low on health, make sure to step out of the wall and spend a few moments healing and regenerating. Most of the normal enemies will not be able to harm you too much. Just stay near the ghosts and let your abilities deal damage at a safe distance. They will still proc Echoing Band and continue to keep up the pressure. This will take a while. In my successful one, I got to the ghost with 13 minutes and 44 seconds left. I didn't kill the final ghost until literally the second before the boss spawned. So don't be disheartened if you feel like nothing is happening. Just keep going until the achievement pops or the Lord of Despair spawns. That wraps it up for the Shield Maiden method to get this achievement. It's definitely the more complicated and item dependent method, but also the most consistent. I cannot stress enough just how much easier the Shield Maiden makes things. If you ever find yourself stuck on a mission and you can play the Shield Maiden to clear it, give it a shot. Just a quick note about this method. In the time between recording the audio and editing the video, a new patch came out that drastically changed defense and block strength. The change reduced all sources of base block strength and defense by 50%. So now the Shield Maiden is no longer the walking tank that she used to be. She's still good, but definitely not as good. Which means this method is not as easy as it once was. You can still do it, but now you'll definitely need to step back and heal or regen more. You may also need to have the upgraded version of the Thorn Fist gloves. Now, let's talk about the alternative way to get this achievement, with massive AoE damage. The best characters for this route are the Archer, the Exterminator, and the Sorceress. As you probably know, these three characters are the champions of dishing out damage to multiple targets in quick, powerful bursts. Setting up these three is significantly easier than setting up the Shield Maiden. For the most part, they don't need specific items, they just need good or decent items. Let's first start with the Archer. For the equipment, you want to stack as many items that give bonuses to crit chance and crit damage as possible. The one thing you need for sure is once again the Echoing Band Ring. Since he does physical damage, we will again be using the shockwave that procs to thin out the horde. Otherwise, just pick whatever items boost crit chance, crit damage, multi-strike, attack speed, basically anything to improve your overall DPS. You have a lot of health to get through, so you'll need to be able to squeeze out as much damage as you can. For the abilities, as I mentioned before, the Archer does physical damage, so we want to complement that with physical abilities. That means we want to take the same abilities we took with the Shield Maiden: Phantom Needles, Astronomer's Orb, Ring Blades, and Morningstar. Again, we can skip Clay Golem. The ability priority and upgrades are also pretty much the same, though we may want to give a bit more priority to Phantom Needles in the Archer's case. They work a bit better with the class, so it might be worth using over other abilities if you find that you're struggling. As for the traits to improve when you level up, you want to maximize your damage. The name of the game with the Archer is crit, crit, and more crit. Focus on upgrading your crit chance, crit damage, force, multi-strike, and attack speed. Of course, this is in addition to leveling up your abilities as well. That's it for the Archer for now, so let's move on to the Exterminator. For the Exterminator, this achievement can be made easier if you have fire build items to use. So the Ruby Circlet, the Ring of Fire, Blazing Shell, Firewalker Boots, Sparking Tips, and Elemental Resonator. With some or all of these items, you can stack Burn on the Ghost and constantly keep up the damage. If you have these items, great. If not, it's okay, they aren't totally necessary. Take as many of them as you can and we'll make do without the rest, filling your equipment slots with items that improve your damage and survivability. For once, we do not need the Echoing Band. As for the abilities, there are really just two fire ones that we want to make sure to take. In order to keep up with our burning enemies theme, we want to take Flame Strike and Dragon's Breath. These two are useful due to being either really powerful or by spreading burn in a large area. We don't really want to take the Meteor Strike ability, and that's mostly because it hits randomly. We want to be able to have better control over our damage. For Flame Strike, you want to get the Scattered Sparks upgrade. For Dragon's Breath, any of the upgrades are good, but you want to grab Refined Flame. So what should we take for the other ability slots? Well, that depends a little bit. Are you using the Sparking Tips gloves? If so, they only proc from physical damage, which the Exterminator does not do. So you need to again take a few of the physical abilities to make use of the Sparking Tips. Ringblade and Morningstar are your best bets here. You can also look at taking some of the magic damage type abilities. In particular, look at taking Arcane Splinters or Transfixion. Arcane Splinters can cover a lot of ground and deal a constant layer of damage. The only reason we don't look at it for the Shield Maiden and Archer is because they need as much physical damage as possible to proc Echoing Band. Transfixion is good because not only does it deal constant damage, but also applies the Fragile debuff. Fragile makes enemies take more damage, which is pretty useful against the Ghost Wall. If you get Arcane Splinters, look for the Arcane Unrest and Arcane Shiver upgrades. For Transfixion, the Painful Incision and the Amputation upgrades are your best bet. As far as level up stats go, your highest priorities are going to be Force, Damage, Area, and Burn Chance. Force is an amazing stat for the Exterminator. Increasing his Force will boost the Flame damage, Flame duration, and Flame piercing capabilities. Outside of that, your goal is to boost the power of your flames and make sure they spread far and wide. Finally, let's move on to the Sorceress. Similar to the Exterminator, if you have the items for a Thunder or Lightning build, you can make this achievement a bit easier for yourself. That means you need the Thunder Crown, the Ring of Thunder, Electrostatic Treads, and the Elemental Resonator. These items will allow you to stack up Spark on enemies and then trigger massive chain lightning bursts. Again, you do not need all of these items for the Sorceress. You can definitely accomplish this just by using her base chain lightning and some upgrade traits. The items just make it a bit easier. Use whichever of these items you have and fill the rest with ones that boost survivability or damage. The abilities you want to take are the two lightning based ones, Lightning Strikes and Kugelblitz. Both of these abilities will benefit from the traits you'll boost and can also inflict spark. With lightning strikes, make sure you get explosive strikes. Concentrated strikes sounds great, but I'm honestly not 100% sure if it will focus on the marching ghosts. They don't have health calculated the same way that most enemies do. For Kugelblitz, you want to get the high voltage and final discharge upgrades. Having it autocast a chain lightning is great, and having it explode into a shockwave when duration ends is just icing on the cake. As for filling out the other abilities, the Sorceress is another excellent case for focusing on the magic type abilities. This is especially true if you're using the Thunder Crown, since that only procs off of magic damage. Pick up Arcane Splinters and Transfixion abilities and try to get the same upgrades previously mentioned. If you're unlucky and can't seem to reroll and land those, go for high damaging physical abilities like Ring Blades and Morningstar. Again, those are just generally powerful and nearly all the time great pickups with upgrades. When it comes to upgrading stats when leveling up, you want to focus on Force, Multi-Strike, Damage, Crit Chance, and Shock Chance. The combination of Force and Multi-Strike will allow the Chain Lightning to hit a huge amount of marching ghosts, and if you crit them, you'll have a chance to inflict the Spark debuff. Now that we've finished with all the character setup, let's talk about the basic strategy. Luckily, it's pretty much the same with all three of the characters for the AoE damage route, with some very minor differences. When you start the run, you want to once again pick up the tome, select your ability, and start going to the north or south wall. You need to get to the ghost there ASAP. When you get to the wall, make sure you're constantly barraging the ghosts one section at a time. If you ease up on the attack for too long, you might not be able to defeat 24 in time. It's really difficult to do, and your greatest enemy is the clock. If you're using Archer, your primary goal is to keep attacking and critting as many ghosts per volley as you can. Make sure you keep it close enough range so that the Morningstar and Ring Blades deal maximum damage. For the Exterminator, you want to spread burn in as many ghosts in a concentrated area as you can. Keep on attacking and spreading burn, and you'll slowly whittle them down. If you have the Sparking Tips gloves, make sure you're proccing them with your physical abilities. This is probably the slowest method out of all these characters, but it can be done. The Sorceress is slightly easier since she doesn't need to aim so much. As long as you hit near the ghost wall, her Chain Lightning will do the rest. With her, you want to spread the Spark debuff on the ghost and then have it constantly apply damage. If you have the Thunder Crown, proc more Chain Lightnings by hitting sparked enemies with your magic abilities. Again, you will not be able to see how much damage you're inflicting on the ghost wall, and you also won't be able to tell how much health they have left. You're just going to have to keep on attacking, trust your build, and hope for the best. But if you get the wall fast enough and keep pressing your assault, you can get it done. And that's it. Hopefully this guide helps get you on the way to getting your Juggernaut achievement. If you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Were you able to take out the ghost wall? What builds did you use to do it? What has been the hardest achievement for you to get? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and good luck on all your future runs.